Hi, this is the Rock Podcast, and I'm Denny Somack. I'm a rock historian, producer, and best-selling author. And this is the #1 podcast for classic rock. We're in our 4th season. I recently caught up with the legendary drummer Carmine Appice to talk about the new Cactus album, and among other things, found out about his new AI project. Yes, artificial intelligence, and it involves Melanie, who was a guest on this podcast just before she passed. You'll hear a lot of names on this episode, people like Led Zeppelin, John Bonham, Jeff Beck, Rod Stewart, Vanilla Fudge. Carmine has been around influencing drummers and the rock scene in general for a long time. And we know each other a long time.
Let's start. I'm a big Cactus fan. The first 2 albums I loved. Not too crazy about the next 2, but this band's
you didn't like Restrictions? I thought Restrictions was good.
Not the first one was a killer. Come on.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like you reformed, because you reformed back in what, 2002 or something. So is this an ongoing side project?
2006, and then we played all over the place with McCarty, Tim, and me, and then the singer. And then, on and off for years, and then the last Cactus album we did was Tightrope a few years ago. I thought that was a great record. And then this one wasn't my idea, it was the label. Brian Pereira, the owner of the label, said, "You think you can do this?" I said, "Yeah, I think I can do it." And I said, "I need a budget." So he gave me a budget, and we started putting it together. And little by little, it started building and building. And I started it with the drums in my studio.
Right.
And which was interesting. It wasn't nothing else but the drums. And then once we got the tracks built on with my singer, Jim Stapley, and Jim Caputo, my bass player.
Right.
Then I had demos, and then I started calling people, Ted Nugent and Dee Snider and all that.
Did you have a wish list, or you just said, "Hey, I'm going to call this guy"?
I just thought, once we got the tracks done, I knew Ted would do it. I knew King's X guys would do it. I knew Billy Sheen would do it, because we talked about stuff like that. And I knew that Dee Snider had done Evil before, and I knew he was a big Cactus fan. So I knew certain people would do it. So I called them first. And with Ted, like I said, "What track you want to do?" He said, "I want to do one way or another." I said, "Okay, I think I'll get Doug Pinnick to play bass on it and sing it." So Doug said, "Okay," so we did that, and then we got Ted on it. And Evil we did with the Doug Pinnick playing bass and Jim McCarty on guitar. And that was a weird one, because I told him I was going to get Dee Snider to sing it, and he said, "What, are you kidding me? The guy from Twisted Sister?" I said, "Yeah." So he didn't believe it. And so when I played it for him, I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "Who's singing?" I said, "That guy, Dee Snider." He goes, "Oh my God, he sounds like Rusty." I said, "Yeah, he does." So then it went on from there. We did different people I thought were just friends. They ended up being, guys that were influenced by Cactus. So then the album was originally called Cactus Influences and Friends. And then when it was all done, I went back to the label and I said, "Look, my friends like Foghat and Robin Trow, they've been marketing this thing as their problems and their albums as a blues album. So I think we should do the same." And he said, "Great, let's call it Temple of Blues." I said, "Great idea." We already had the cover with everybody on the cover. I wanted it to be kind of like Sergeant Pepper. So then when we got the Temple of Blues in there, we said Temple of Blues Influences and Friends. So we kept the whole thing, and we changed the artwork to all this temple stuff. Came out great, and the record came out great, and the videos came out great. And then we released everything. People were starting to love it, and we were going for the blues marketing. And then when it broke in Billboard at #3, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it.
Amazing. So are your influences in the blues? This is pre-Vanilla Fudge now.
I'm not really a blues guy. I never was. But in the days of Cactus, when we started, it was blues rock. It was really, like Parchment Farm, our version of Parchment Farm. it wasn't the song named Parchment Farm that sold that. It was the viciousness of the playing
Right.
and the tempo that sold that. Could have been any lyrics. I didn't even know that was a blues song. Rusty Day sang that. And I was surprised. I said, why don't you sing our own lyrics? I don't know. That's what I started singing. So I wasn't really a blues guy. I brought in the song Evil to the band back in the day because I had Jeff Beck gave me an album called Howlin' Wolf's Electric Album, and that Evil was on there. And I said, oh man, this is cool. We got to do this. So we did it, modernized it in those days, and it became like a classic for Cactus. And that's how it flowed. I wasn't really a guy that listened to the blues all the time. Tim Bogert and Jim McCarty used to do that. But I wasn't a blues guy. I was more of a jazz rock guy. Jazz and
Buddy Rich,
and
Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I listened to Zeppelin. I listened to all the bands of the day, which were all blues rock. Can Heat. I mean, everything was blues rock, and before ZZ Top and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was all blues rock bands.
So are you going to tour around this or do festivals? What do you have planned?
Well, if they come up, we'll do it. I'm not gonna. As far as touring today, for me, at my age, if I had to go like in my own plane with my own doctors and my own cook, I won't go on a tour. I'll go out and do 3 or 4 days and come home. So touring, that's what I've been doing. I got another show, the Rod Tonight's the Night Rod kind of show, and we do 1 or 2 nights at a time. We'll come back. And was in June, we did 3 Cactus shows, one after another. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And then we did a couple of more in New York area. So we did 5 shows just when the album came out, just in support of the album.
Right.
And it was well received. People loved the band. It was great. And the album was getting great reviews, and it was just on to come out, and people were loving the album. We sold a lot of albums on the tour. We did Foghat on one gig, and then we did our own gig, another Foghat gig. And on the Foghat gigs, we sold a lot of product, as well as other merch.
Yeah, there's
But
still.
Cactus was always an underground band. We never had the hit single that would go through the years and take us to playing arenas. We never did that. We played arenas, but not as the headliner.
Yeah. So what's the status? I know you're still doing dates with Vanilla Fudge.
Yeah, but that's we did some in May, next one during November. It's the same thing with that. We ain't gonna do tours.
Mhm.
Everybody's my age. And Vinnie Martell's 81 years old.
Right.
Again, we've been in a Sprinter van for 30 days.
Yeah.
Mark's out on the road with Dave Mason's in a bus, and he's having a rough time being in a bus every day playing. He goes out for 5 weeks. Not easy to do that. I'd rather do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, let's do a little history here because you were actually Vanilla Fudge. Well, first of all, there's a new Vanilla Fudge album now, best of or something, retrospective.
Was that the one on Cherry Lane, Cherry Red or something?
I don't know. It's 6 CD sets, unreleased.
Yeah.
Fillmore concerts.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a label that said we're going to release all of these songs and talk to our manager and okay. I didn't even get a copy of them.
So
I didn't even know what's on them.
Okay, there's a couple of live concerts from the Fillmore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Are those the days when Led Zeppelin was your opener?
They weren't. They didn't open at the Fillmore, but depends on when it was. Zeppelin was in 1968 December. We played with them through January of '69. Then we played in the summer of '69 with them. And after that, they got huge.
Yeah. Well, how did they get to you anyway? Because they were totally unknown, the ex-Yardbird.
Well, we had the same lawyer, and Jimmy Page had the same lawyer through the Yardbirds. Peter, what's the manager? Peter
Grant.
Peter Grant, yeah. Peter Grant was friends. Obviously, he knew the lawyer. The lawyer presented my manager with the album, and my manager was also a promoter on the East Coast called Concerts East. And they gave us the album. I said, these guys, Jimmy's the only band. We knew Jimmy, so we said, sure. Matter of fact, on the first gig, we paid half their fee because the promoter didn't want to do it. He said, we're already sold out. We don't need him. You know, we had the same agent. The agent said the same thing. He said, tell you what, Vanilla Fudge, you pay half the fee. You only have to pay half. In those days, they were making $1,500 for a show. So we paid $750 of it.
Mhm.
And they still owe us the money.
What did you think when you heard the album? Because you heard it in an advanced pressing, right?
I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. And we often wondered, you know, we used to blow a lot of bands off the stage, and we wondered who was going to blow us off the stage. And it was them.
And what's your relationship with John Bonham? Because you sort of
We were good friends, you know.
you were his mentor, weren't you?
I was his mentor, but you know, I was always the kind of guy, no matter who, if I'm in a headline situation and the opening band, I usually would say hi to him, make, you know, and hang out with him a little bit. Now, same thing with them, same thing with Motley Crue when they opened for Ozzy, same thing with King's X when they opened for Blue Murder. You know, it's happened many times, and just Three Dog Night. Anyway, so you know, I always did that. And you know, John Bonham's the same guy. You know, we were friends, and he liked my drum set, which was a unique drum set in the day. It was the first drum set that Ludwig ever made out of maple and the big oversized drums. So he said, can you get me a set like that? So I called up Ludwig, and I said, you know, this guy's really great. I think this band's going to be big. The understatement of what, 6 decades? You know?
So did he sort of duplicate your set?
Yeah, he had it. He duplicated my set totally.
Yeah. Huh.
What happened to your vocal?
Yeah. So
Your vocal, there you go. You're okay now.
yeah.
I think.
Okay. So how many dates did you do with them originally? Do you remember? It was the first tour, or
Well, the first tour was probably half a dozen. And then later on in 2069, we did a whole tour, a whole summer tour with them. I don't know how many dates that was.
who else was on the bill?
That's it.
Oh, how about the earlier ones? Was Iron Butterfly on, or
Nope,
Spirit?
nope. Always been just us and them.
Okay. And then
They play with Iron Butterfly. It was Iron Butterfly and them.
I see. Okay. Now, so it was after the second tour. The next time you toured together, the bill was flipped.
No, it wasn't flipped. It was, we did co-headlining. One day they would headline, the next day we would headline. It went like that. But they got so big so fast. It's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Mhm.
53 years.
That don't happen today.
Yeah. So,
Now, it
okay.
takes
So
the band
let
10
me,
years to make it.
yeah. So let me get a little history in here because, first of all, Vanilla Fudge, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the first rock bands on Atlantic. The Rascals, Iron Butterfly, Vanilla Fudge. Is
Well,
that?
we were before Iron Butterfly.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Not the Rascals.
We were the first bands on Atco.
Ah, okay.
Atco, and there was the Cream and Vanilla Fudge. And Rascals were on Atlantic proper.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't know where Iron Butterfly was.
Yeah. How did you get to Atco?
We Hanging On was a demo. They played on the radio. That they entered it in like these radio contests and rate the record kind of thing. And they put us against everybody, the Beatles and all the bands that were big then. And we kept winning. Atlantic Records heard it. They want to sign it. It was easy.
It had sort of two lives, right? It came out, it was somewhat of a hit, and then went down, and then it came back
Yeah.
again, right?
Yeah, because it was a hit. Didn't make it a hit. It was number 70 on the Billboard charts. And then when we released the album was the hit. Went from 200 to 33.
Right.
Eventually made it up to the top 5, right? And this really, we were one of the first band to hit the top 5 album charts without a smash single. And then we went on the Ed Sullivan Show, same thing. We
Which
were the
they
only
still
band
play all the time. I
all
see
the
it.
time, yeah,
Yeah.
because it was an amazing performance. I mean,
Yeah.
I watched one of these guys today. It was like a black guy. They would pick stuff that they never heard before. I looked at, and the guy looked at it and he said, "Whatever that drummer's on, I want some." I had to laugh, but it's it's an amazing performance. It's still out there today, and people that see it today, they still rave about it.
Yeah.
And after we did that, we sold 250,000 albums right after that.
And you did 2 songs on there, or was that 2
We
separate?
did 2 times, yeah. The second time was a shotgun.
Right,
Second time I had my big drum set.
right. So, have you been you come in touch with any of the Zeppelin guys over the years?
Well, not lately. We have over the years, but not lately. I see John's son a few times here and there, but they're in a different era of life, I should say.
Yeah,
Jimmy Page is Sir Jimmy Page,
right.
Sir Robert,
Well, you're
different.
all the same age.
Huh?
You're all the
Yeah.
same age. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not on that realm of platform of in the rock elite
yeah,
like they are,
right.
which is all
Well,
right.
you're on the Mount Rushmore of rock drummers.
What?
You're on the Mount Rushmore of rock drummers.
That's right.
Okay.
Which I'm fine.
So I mean, you have so many things going on at once. You still do your clinics?
No, there are no clinics anymore.
Okay.
The internet blew clinics out of the water. I mean, I could teach from my studio if I want to teach one-offs or do mass. I don't want to bother with that. I used to like being in the building with people doing that, but the internet and the fact that drums and guitars and all that stuff is not the top of music anymore. All the stores are closing.
Right.
My drum book still does okay.
Right.
And I was the first rock drummer to write a drum book that became like some of the all-time classic drum books, along with the ones that I went through when I was a kid.
Right.
So that for me was a great achievement. I'm put in the realm of these 4 or 5 great drum books that have always been around. So mine is the rock book.
Yeah.
For that, which is great.
Is there an official documentary on either Vanilla Fudge or Cactus?
Nope.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't make them.
Okay. So if somebody would make them, you'd like it, right?
Well, there should be a Carmine Appice documentary following my career and all the stuff I did. But people tell me that all the time. I said, well, good. They'll find somebody to do it. It takes money and it takes a commitment, and somebody wants to do it.
Well, there's a big explosion now in rock documentaries. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I know, but same reason we were passed up on the Rock Hall of Fame, which we should have been there a long time ago.
That's a big mistake. Absolutely.
Big mistake. They should call it the Music Hall of Fame now, because come on, you bring in rappers and Dolly Parton, and then you bring in the Go-Go's. I thought it was about influence. Seriously, I thought it was about influence. At the beginning, you had Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley. It's about influence. Who did the Go-Go's influence?
Yeah.
So
let me ask you an odd question, because I've been talking to people about this recently. 100 years from now, when you go to let's assume it's still around, you go to the dictionary and you look up rock and roll, whose picture is going to be there?
Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry, the Rolling Stones.
Got it. Okay. No, there's only one picture. Chuck Berry is what I'm assuming.
One? Chuck Berry.
Yeah, exactly. People say, oh, the Beatles, Elvis. No.
Yeah, but he started there.
Yeah.
So certain things like Vanilla Fudge has been claimed to start progressive rock, prog, and you organ the vocals and my drumming and Tim Boger's bass playing and Mark Stein's organ, started things.
Yeah, right. No, I was talking to, well, I know Yes was heavily influenced by you.
Yes, a lot of people were.
Yeah, and I talked to Steve Hackett. He said the same thing, Genesis.
I mean, Deep Purple was supposed to be the English Vanilla Fudge.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what's up next?
Yeah.
You know what you're going to do with Cactus? You'll do some dates. Is there going to be
Well, I
a
think
new
when
album?
this settles, when this settles down, I was talking to the label again, Cleopatra, and I said we should do like since we got such a rave thing happening in the blues section of Billboard, let's keep doing it. Let's do a Cactus Plays the Blues and do some of the old blues songs
Right.
and modernize them to make them sound like this record. And there's a new thing coming out right now. It couldn't. We were going to try and put it on this record, but it wasn't done yet. But it's you know who Melanie is?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
just talked to her 2 weeks before she died.
Okay, so Cleopatra has her
Next album.
AI of her voice.
Yeah.
Next album, an AI of her voice.
Right.
So we put Cactus with her playing Purple Haze.
Oh,
her
wow.
singing. So that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and it was going to be on this album, but it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Cactus album with her singing. It kicks ass. I never heard her sing like this yet. Scream from Hell.
Yeah.
Couple
Did you
of
know?
Screams from Hell on it.
Did you know
No,
her?
no, I didn't know her. Again, that was Brian from Cleopatra's idea. You know, so while we're doing all this stuff, you know, I know maybe it won't make the album, but let's do it anyway. So we did it, and now they just released the artwork to me, and I said, "You want it to be Melanie and Cactus, or Cactus and Melanie?" I said, "Whatever you guys want, I don't care. It's the same thing, you know." And it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Cactus kicking ass with Melanie, you
Yeah.
know. So that'll probably be on that next one we do, you know. And so we'll do that. We'll do some Howlin' Wolf records, maybe do a couple of songs from Cactus album, like the song Token Chokin' off the third album that you don't
Right.
like. A great song. I think we would do a killer job of it today. And there's maybe one more, two songs from the other three albums, you know, that we can redo with today. Maybe
Yeah.
even something off the Hot and Sweaty album with the last Cactus band.
Right.
Song Bedroom Berserker was always a killer song, you know. And then do some old blues songs. I have one Howlin' Wolf album in my mind that I definitely want to do. And, you know, so maybe we'll do 4 Cactus songs and the Melanie song, and the rest of it be like old blues songs.
Yeah. So
Of
among
course,
all this
Cactus
stuff,
plays the blues, huh?
among all these things that you have coming out, I forgot to ask you about the Beck, Bogert, and Appice.
The box set,
Yeah.
amazing.
How did
The
that come
very
about?
last
Because
time
that's,
I'll ever hear Jeff Beck play like that.
yeah.
He never played like that anywhere else in all the albums he did since. And Jeff had passed away when we were working on it. And I was the one that had to master it and listen to the masters. And I listened to both records, 4 records, front to back. And when I was done, I was tired because the energy level was ridiculous.
Right.
And then there's a song called Jizz Whiz that's the bridge from that BBA to Blow by Blow. You know, because I was involved in Blow by Blow and that whole bridge over there. But the second part of it, the Rainbow album, was actually 7 new songs on there because those were the songs that were going to be on our album that we never could really finish it and get the energy we wanted in the studio. So we did it live, and it came out great live. There's actually another, that was the first show or the second show. There's a second show that we recorded too. And every time we played songs, it's always different. Because in those days, it wasn't about the songs, it was about the playing, you know? It's like I said about Parchment Farm, it's about the playing, not the lyrics. You know,
Right.
and that's the same with BBA. It was like, let's do the verse chord, let's get to the solos. You know?
That was originally only out in Japan for a while.
Yes, one of them,
Yeah.
the Japanese part. But the second part was brand new. We did in London. That was the last gigs we did. And it came out great. When I was mixing it, I said, oh my God, I forgot how good this is. But Jeff was on fire. The whole band was on fire,
Right.
Unlike, totally different than, when we got into, I got into the blow by blow stuff with him, and then he went on from there, and it's different kind of playing with him. And he developed it amazing. He was unbelievable. He was the best, period. Of all those, Beck, Page, and Plant, and Beck, Page, and Clapton, and Hendrix, he was the best. Hendrix died. When he died, his career was going down. So
Yeah. Okay.
I should do a documentary on my history, because I'm like a walking encyclopedia.
Look into that. I might know somebody that would like to do that.
That would be great.
It'd be
Because I touched
several hours.
I was there.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that were there are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Page was there.
Yeah.
He's still there. And Robert Plant was there from '68. We're talking before that.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for joining me. This is the Rock Podcast. Did I see? Did you do a like songs and stories type thing at the Black Box?
Yes.
What? How'd that go?
Called Carmine Appice Diaries. I'm doing it again in December.
When are you doing it?
December, I think December 14th.
At the Black Box?
Yeah.
I'm going to come. I thought it was a great idea.
It's really, the fun thing about it is after I get the intro, it comes up on the video behind it, there's all the stories. The people pick the stories, I don't. So they get involved.
Great. All right.
It's cool.
I'll introduce myself to you at the show.
Okay, man.
Great idea.
Yeah, thank you.
And all right. Well, anyway, thanks for taking time. Good luck with this album. I really like this album.
Great, thank you.
So that's 1, 2, and this one's called. It's not 6. Would it be the 6th or the 7th?
Oh, I didn't even know. Because Cleopatra released a live album, first live album. They released a radio concert, and they released Tightrope, and they released a couple other ones. I don't know how many.
Okay. Well, I was blown away when I first heard it.
I don't know about that 6-package either.
I was blown away when I first heard it, and I just thought, wow, because I can't believe you're still doing this and doing it well. It's amazing. So anyway.
I love it. And now they got the studio in my house here. I can do it cheaply without big expenses. Before, I used to have to take my drums to the studio, hire a roadie, set it up, get a sound check, and if I can't get everything done in 2 or 3 days, I had to bring it back. Now it's just set up in the studio. I walk in there, turn it on, bam, ready to go.
That's it for this episode of The Rock Podcast. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Carmine Appice, a real legend. If you're listening to the audio-only version, I want you to know we have a video version on YouTube, and it's all free, no charge. As always, thanks for joining us and helping us become the #1 podcast in classic rock. Find us at our website, therockpodcast.com, and send your comments, questions, and suggestions to me at hello@therockpodcast.com. I'm Denny Somack. Join me for the next edition of The Rock Podcast.